Hello, hello. And also, welcome Raiders. Uncle Scientist with the party of six. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry I can't stay and hang out, or I can ask you how the stream was. But everyone who came, welcome. How was Uncle Scientist stream? He was still working on he's still working on a book, right, by Robert Nystrom, the compiler book. How's that going, by the way? I remember seeing like a couple of days ago, it was some interesting tough parts, but I haven't really been able to pay too much attention because like usually streams earlier than me and I just wake up right before this stream. All right, today we are continuing to work on the I guess like authentication with Auth0. However, last night I was procrastinating playing a game. So, as strange as that sounds, I decided to work on this instead. So I did a couple different things. First of all, you'll notice that I have a menu that takes us to different places where we're doing stuff. So looking at our code base, this is what we got now. Basically, I've organized each section that we're sort of experimenting with into its own page. So for example, in our using a component library, this is now using the BB text and the BB title. And in our main library, we're basically just have our router and then a bunch of links that are sending us to where we expect to go. So that being said, I've actually gotten a decent amount done with authentication too. So if we take a look, if we come into authentication, right now I changed the default to it just says like is loaded. Yeah, it's false. It's false right now. It's always false, which is I guess fine. So if I hit login here. It oh man, it doesn't actually show. Okay, we need to I think it's local storage. Delete all of you. Oh, there's no cookies. Okay, so let's try this. So if I hit login now, come on. Session storage? Where do you store that? Oh, interesting. Okay. So I don't know if you can see, but the URL changed. So what happened was it now sends you to Auth0 to be logged in, like an appropriate OAuth2 experience. However, because I've actually logged in last night and it's the same browser, maybe we can do it. Oh, we do it on a different browser. Just open up there. Okay, so if I go to localhost 8080, we're gonna go to authentication and then I click login. This now takes us to Auth0's sort of login window. We can put in my email address. I put in my password and it sends us back here. Now, there's nothing in our code that like actually handles the authentication part or like that we are authenticated, but it is now redirecting us back to the app. It's not redirecting us back exactly where we came from, although that shouldn't be too hard. It's instead just bringing us back to this authentication page, but now we have an access token and we have all sorts of other cool stuff in the top. So let's go over what we did. All right, so for authentication, what we did was pages authentication. This looks about right. We have some helper functions here. Okay, so for here's our page. We do the same exact logic as we did last time. So I'm grabbing auth loading, which is always false, and is authenticated, which is also always false. Grabbing that from the store. So same thing. Then we check our on click. So when we click that button, I want to create the URL that we're going to go to, because that's an entire thing. And then I want to, I'm logging that URL so I can make sure that it was the right one. And then I'm telling, hey, glue, tell the window location to set the href to this login URL. So that then fully takes us out. And then you're yelling at me because, oh, you return a result. So I guess we're going to unwrap that. Now down here, we have this create login URL. And this I got from the yew.rs documentation. Let's go find that really quickly. Oh, sorry, yew? No, Auth0 documentation. Because we were looking at the code examples that they were giving us, and I realized that that what they were doing was just sending us away. They were just replacing the href in the location. So it's like, okay, that should be simple enough. We just have to figure out how to hit it. And if we go to login on the left here, and specifically database, we can see here, okay, it's going to be a get. So get request is pretty simple. That's just, you know, a normal browser URL is a get request to /authorize. And then you have to send all of this stuff in with you. So response type, now we're using token because it's an application side, because it's a SPA. Client ID is that special client ID. I put that into our, I put that into the .env, or yeah, I put that into our .env. Connection is the name of the connection. So a connection to Auth0 is like the name of the database that's going to be used. And apparently you can use multiple databases. And it's really interesting because when I was playing with this earlier, I tried to create like multiple of these. And while that technically works, it wasn't finding the right database. This is how you tell it, oh, this is the database to use. So like if it's a dev, you use the dev database. Otherwise, use the default database. So this would allow us to have a dev deployment. Redirect URI is like, where are you sending us back? And this redirect URI also has to be specifically set inside of Auth0, which I did. It's let's see, and then scope. So I don't have to request any specific scope yet, and I haven't actually tried to like gather it. Right now, I believe we're just requesting the same scope that this is requesting of us. And then finally, state here. So state is not required, but it's recommended. And I spent like most of the time was actually trying to figure out how to set this in a at least like vaguely secure way. So it looks like the idea is that it wants this to be some kind of string, an opaque value that the application adds to the initial request that the authorization server includes when redirecting back to the application. This value must be used by the application to prevent CRSF attacks. So here's the idea from what I can tell. We send you, the person logging in, to Auth0. You log in with your username and password, and then they send a request back to us. Now, these requests are over HTTPS, so therefore they are encrypted, which includes the URL bar. At least all of the query strings and all that stuff, those are all encrypted, meaning that a man-in-the-middle attack cannot detect that, like what that state is. They might know that there is one because it's like a super, super long, like the encryption string. Like you might be able to detect that there's a whole bunch of stuff there. You just don't know what it is. So it gets to Auth0, they decrypt it, they have you log in, they know what that state is now, they send it back to you. It's still HTTPS normally. In this case, it's HTTP, but in normal deployed circumstances, it would be HTTPS. They encrypt that string again, and they add the state back in. Now, I can detect, hey, you're loading this back, and you have the state that I've set. Therefore, it must be me. It must be you. Like it's something. It's I know who this is coming from. Now, I'm a little bit confused as to like how to generate this like properly. It appeared, let me actually go back and find the code example. It appeared for a little bit of time that the Vue SDK is like generating a random string themselves using the JavaScript crypto library, which is crypto is off of Windows and it's on all the browsers. But I couldn't find a crypto library available for me on in WebAssembly. Like there's plenty of crypto libraries just for Rust, but that's not really all that helpful. Let me see. Applications. I'm quickly going to find this this code stuff. So yeah, this is, I want the 2 one. Right, I think this is it. So, Bullfrist Dad, hello. All right, so looking at this, we have you. I think it's the Auth0 client. Where is it? Okay, so build authorize URL. You still, let's see, you sat down with Rust yesterday. Cargo is amazing. You love the general structure of the language. Nice. Yeah, Cargo really does bring it into like the modern times with coding, especially when it's like compared to like anything else, like Python. I think Go has that too, right? Ruby, Node. Who else has like good package managers built in? It's like now I'm running out of languages that I actually know that have them that I've used. But it is amazing. I agree. You're still in love with C though? I mean, I think, and this is my opinion, I think that there is room for loving all the good languages. And heck, even some of the weird and bad ones, there's still room for love in there too. We can love them all. Okay, so it's building this authorized URL, and this state is going to encode create random string. So if we head over to create random string, they're literally making a car set of a string. And then they're using get crypto, get random values, passing in a uint8 array. Random values for each. Oh, okay. So this is how they're turning this into a string. So we can do something very similar to this. And then that's how it's returning. So for me, I kind of did this, but I only did this part. You were at a guessing game in Rust yesterday. Oh, nice. It had some interesting properties, like print line being a macro call. You haven't gotten to a chapter of the book where we handle regular functions. Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, macro calls, like the way they designed it is very interesting because you can't tell if you're a beginner that the difference between a macro calling a macro and calling a normal function, it comes a little bit later. Once you get into like normal function, you're like, oh, okay, macros are how you handle almost like ambiguity, and you can do just random. It feels like you can break all the rules with Rust with it. I mean, you can't, but it feels like it. Okay, so I was looking for this get crypto, which is really cool. I was looking that up yesterday. Not available as far as I can tell, for the most part. But I pulled in this randos package that allows me to do this fill bytes, which according to its documentation behind the scenes is using the use crypto library. And so I kind of do the same thing where I'm creating an array of random U8s. So in this case, 16 of them, which is great. And that's exactly what's happening over here. They're getting random values from this. They're getting 43 of them. But then the big difference that they're doing is they have this car set. And so I can just steal this. So here's what I can do. Let car set equals you can't can I index out of a string? Maybe I wanna try this. Actually, maybe you'll tell me. Can I do carset dot performs the indexing? Okay, we're gonna go to the playground. Do you think there's value in using libraries as a crutch to transition into harder projects? You've been trying to make more non-trivial projects just using standard C, but a lot of things are a bit difficult to implement, like image processing. Do you think using a library at first to learn will help you understand it better later? So the answer, as far but obviously opinions abound in this answer, but yes and no. Yes, because getting those quick victories and moving forward with it is definitely going to like help you move forward and help like build both like the understanding of in general what needs to be done, and then later on specifically dive into like, okay, now that I have like that part working, I can now work on this other part of it and like break that down and maybe even replace that library call with my own thing. You can do, what's the pattern? There's a programming pattern for creating a wrapper around other libraries. And I think that's what you'd want to do here, right? Is you create a wrapper, a custom wrapper that wraps around whatever this like image processing library is. And you call your wrapper. And then that allows you to, in the future, when you're ready, you can go in and replace that library with your own stuff. The wrapper just needs to now call your code. And so like the original logic and everything else doesn't change at all. And therefore you can then know what's going to work. But the caveat to this is you then have to go back and do it. If you only like get it barely working and you don't go deeper into the code base to sort of like learn and get better, then obviously that's not gonna work. So that's why it's a yes and no. Otherwise, like, yeah, I agree. It's a great way of getting stuff. Trying to like go full hog into things, I don't think really works. All right, so I want to create a car set here, and I just want to do a debug of car set dot, can I index to like 9? Hello, Stacking. Good morning. String cannot be indexed by integer. String indices are ranges of view size. You can use cars nth or bytes nth. Okay, so we can use cars dot nth of 9. Feels slow today. Oh, it's timed out. Okay, try again. You can index to a string without explicitly calling it as array. Well, didn't you tell me that I could do that? Okay, I could swear that its suggestion was to do that, but I must have misread it. So let's try this again. Let's go to like 3. And also it says like it was an integer and not a usize. So what if I make you a usize? Okay, the type stir cannot be indexed by usize. String indices are ranges of usize. Okay, so that's a different error than that one. Also, something else I'm considering is what if I'm to owned this and make it an actual string? And then can I index it? Because that's a different thing. Okay, string cannot be indexed by that. Okay, so we can't get that one. Now, I bet... Carset is string, you're indexing it as nice, as if it's defined as an array and not a string. Strings by default understood as car arrays. No, but I was seeing whether or not it would like handle that. And apparently not. But I think that there is something we can do. It's like everything Rust really slow today. I think there's a way for me to grab stuff in here. In C languages, strings are just arrays. I guess that's true, isn't it? I'm trying to remember back to like when I did a tiny bit of C programming. Well, and that's why I was thinking that like maybe a string would be different than a stir. Because like I can see a stir saying like, yeah, we refuse to do that. But a string maybe because it's different. Okay, so need to help. Is there no link to like the full docs here? And why are you so slow? Okay, so I want to go to the standard library and let's go to string and see if we can find something here to I mean we could okay, there's a pop and a push. I mean, I could get a range, maybe even. I can get the yew.rs. Oh, that would be weird. Which I think would be an array of characters. Is that right? Oh no, it's an iterator. But then I could. Oh wait. Iterator. I can iterator over it. I bet I can iterate over it and then find... And then the iterator can tell me which version it is. Like that's when I could do like nth or something, I bet. So hold on. So let's do this yew.rs. So this is an iterator over yew.rs. Nth. Okay. Nth is off the iterator. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, so we're gonna come back to here. So I don't need to turn this into a string or anything. We can stay with a stir, and then we're going to debug carset. We have to get an iterator of this. So iter, and then from that we can do nth, and then we can do something like 5. mean, maybe. Why is this taking so long? It's gonna be faster for me to like spin up a new app and try it there. Which, if this does it, is exactly, we're just gonna go and do it live. Fine, okay. So let's create, here's our car set. So then inside of here, we're gonna map, and I'm gonna map this into, we're gonna grab one of these out, and that's what this is gonna be. We're gonna have our state, which is gonna be a string. So I wanna collect a vec of characters. Is that gonna work? I don't know, maybe it actually would work like this. So then we're gonna do, okay, so each item here, I'm not gonna do a toString. I'm instead going to get a car set, get an iter, I can't get into an iter? Can I not get an iter from, oh, is it car set like cars? Cars, like that. Return an iterator over the characters of a string slice and their positions. Okay, that's what I want. Then dot ent. This is gonna be item. Okay, that's gonna give me an option with car indices as iterator. Returns the nth element of the iterator. Okay, so then unwrap that. So then what are you? Okay, you're a U size and a car. So is that index? And then the actual character. I should not name it that. How long have I worked in Rust? Several years now. I want to say like since 2018 or so, 2017. There was like a year or two break in there too. And like worked with is maybe generous. I've never done any professional projects in Rust. It's mostly just been stuff on stream or little personal project type things. I've never had a job where it's like my primary thing. Okay, so this is gonna be, I'll just call this like the full character, or maybe we'll do this random character. Random char. So then I need to wrap this. And we're gonna return random char. Okay, so this is gonna be a random char, which then I can toOwned to make it a string. Or you can make this a so it collects into a vector of characters, and then I want to join these So maybe you need to be a vector of strings. Let's do a string item expected yew size found yew8. This one can be converted into. You feel you need to sit down eventually to learn C++ and Go, etc. for the job market. As much as you love C, most jobs seem to be in C++. I would agree with that. If you want to do cloud type stuff too, Go is seems to be really popular for that type of work. I mean, in the end, having several languages that you're good at and can actually do real work in is probably the best thing to do, because then you can no matter what it is somebody asks you to do, you're like, yeah, whatever, I'll work in that. All right, so this is compiling. This index we don't really care about. Then random character string. So then this should now be one of these. This, however, is going to be interesting because this is more than 10, isn't it? And so our number... Oh, it's a yew8 can be a 255, right? And this is smaller than 255. So this could crash from having each of these numbers be far too big. That's something to consider. So this might crash. Let's try it though. So if I come back to here, hit console, and if I hit login, line 50. Yeah, it panicked on a none value. It panicked on a none value because this needs to be 250 here. So because it's yew8. So I'm really curious. What are they doing? They have their car set here. Give me a uint array for each of these. So take this random string plus equals car set. Oh, look at this. They're using a modulo of the car set length. So whatever this value is, they're modulating it against the length of the car set. That's a way to do it. So then here, give me this one, which is item into modulo. Let's actually just get the length here. Expect a yew8 found yew size. Okay, so then I want you to be, okay, so you're a yew size. Oh, that's fine. Okay, never mind. If that length is, it just didn't know what to turn it into. So this is going to be item as yew size. Oh, it's actually sending me away. What I can do is, where's the thing where I can tell it to not persist logs? Log in here, and so we can see their state here is UWZT3DDUOORA. Yeah, so it's this nice random string, and they did that as a 43 size. So I can change this from 16 to 43 to match theirs. And there, that's a lot longer now. That's 43 characters long. Okay, that's an interesting way to do it. So that creates, this is creating our random state string. So next, using WASM. So this is all happening on the front end. But we're coding in Rust, which that's the fun part, right? It feels like cheating. It feels like doing something we're not supposed to do. Okay, so I hate the fact that we're doing this here. So I want to move this into a utility. Utils, we're gonna do a pub function, create random string. We can get we'll ask for like the length that we want it to be here, which is gonna be a usize. And we're gonna return back, I guess we'll just give an owned string back. And so we're going to do this thing. We have our car set here. We have a random numbers, car set, get the car set length. We then do all of this fun stuff. In here. So we create a random, an array of U8s that is in length size. Then we have our car set that we're going to choose here. I feel like this could also be a const and not even just like defined here. But I also kind of like it because this is shareable. I can just like pick up this function and take it with me somewhere else. Okay, so car set length. So we get the length of there. Then we'll pull in, we're pulling in randOS, randcore, OS range, fill bytes, and we're passing an immutable reference to the random numbers. So it fills this up to the length with just random U8s. You got a friend who's so good at .NET, he just does all of his web dev in C# WASM. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so then now, very next line here, we start to create this. Now I'm calling this a state because this is too aware of what this is. This is now a random string. So our random string is now going to be, and in fact, I can just, this is what's returned. So we're just going to return this. We take our random numbers, we just turn it, we can take ownership and put it into an iterator. We're going to map over them. We get our item, which is really an index essentially, but it's a, I think I want to rename you. This is just a random number. It is a U8. We're mapping through them. So then first of all, I get one of these and I use a modulo to determine which of these to get. So if it's like a 255, we modulo by the length of this to make sure it fits inside of here. So the unwrap should never cause a problem now. Then I turn that into a string and return it. So I collect these into a vector of strings, and then I join them together, which then actually makes it not just a vector anymore, a full string. And then that gets returned. So this is not fast. Let's see, so length, usize, you need to be attempt to use a non-constant value in a constant. Ooh, okay. So apparently I can't do that. Fine. 43. This, okay, so Bill bites, you're upset. Okay, there is a trait available, so import that trait, please. And then we do this thing. Okay, so now we should be able to call that here. So we're gonna do let state equals, what is it called? Create random string? Yeah. Create random string, like that. And then this state is used here. And then you noticed I learned somebody recommended on one of my videos, hey, you should use the new syntax in format and print line where you can just like call the variable name directly in here and not have to like do the comma and everything else. I'm like, oh yeah, I keep on forgetting that I can do that. So it does make it makes it feel a lot more like JavaScript string. What is it called? It's the string templates. It looks really nice. Okay, so this now sets up our login URL. And then we say, hey, Glue, take us there. String interpolation. Thank you. Also, wait, did I say hello to you stacking already? I don't remember anymore. Also, wrong mouse. Oh yeah, I did. A while ago. Okay, so this was all to sort of look into like the create the random string and this, where is it? Oh, that's under utils. Okay, so build the authorized URL. Okay, login with pop-up is not what we're doing. Login with redirect. This is what we're doing. So it builds the authorized URL, which we've done. It then does a window location redirect to that URL that we set. And so that's like step one of this entire process. And then let me see if I could find the next things that we're looking at. Yes. So this is, I'm actually gonna open this twice. So what we had done was, this is down here in the button where we, if we're want to do the login, we click login. That then calls this library and login with redirect, which goes to this one. It's login with redirect, which then goes to this one. Login with redirect. Okay, so that's handled all of those things. So back to here again. Now they want a log out now. But I think that would make sense now, right? If I want to log out, this is a auth log out with a return to window origin location, like wherever this is. This is, so this auth log out. Okay, here's log out. Return Auth0 client log out. Okay, here's log out. Okay, it removes any cookies that have been stored. And that's probably how it knows that it's been logged in, like after refreshes. It builds a logout URL, and then it heads us there. Okay. Which, if we're building a logout URL, we need to head over to here. Go to logout. And that looks like it's a get to logout. Use this endpoint to log out as a user. If you want to navigate the user to a specific URL after the logout, set that URL at the return to parameter. URL should be included in the appropriate allow logout URLs list. If the client ID parameter is included, the return to URL must be listed in the. Oh, interesting. So this might just like return any of them, like log out them from any app too. If I don't, yeah, client ID is not required. Interesting. So none of my stuff is gonna be federated, so I don't care about doing that. The return to might be nice. Okay, so and then this is where we're gonna go. We're gonna give them to something like this. So let's build this. We're gonna create logout URL. You should be able to use router history instead of doing it in the window yourself. Ooh. Okay, let's try that for this one. So I do want a return to in here, because I want to like set that to like, where am I returning? And that's going to be a URL, so I guess that's going to be a string. And we're going to return a string. So this is the format of what we're going to be doing. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay. Okay, so my domain, well, I have access to the domain in environment variable, so I can grab that here. Well, not losing it. And I have client ID, so I can grab these two things. Client ID is client ID. Return to is going to be this return to. Okay. And we're going to return that. I mean, so that seems fairly simple now, which means we also need a handler for this button. And inside of here, log out. Okay, so we need to create the URL, which also means I want to get where we are currently. Now we know we're in authentication, so let's actually not make this a string. Let's make this a str. That'll make it a little bit easier for me. So here at this point, do let out URL equals create logout URL, and then the return to is going to be http://localhost 8080/authenticate. Now I have to take this exact thing and put it inside of here somewhere. There is an allowed logout URLs. A set of URLs that are valid to redirect to. Okay, so that's what I want to set. Save. Okay. So we get that. Now, previously I was just doing a utils sort of set here. But we're thinking that we can use a use location for that. Let's try it. Okay, so we're going to do a let. Is it location or is it history? It's history. Let's use history. Okay, so we unwrap them there. That gives us an any history. We're going to move that into here. And I want to do a history dot Replaces the current history entry with provided routable and state. The implementation of state serializes differs between history types for browse. Are you sure I can do this? I can do things like push. It might be location. Is there a use? Oh, use location. Okay. Okay. Location dot returns the queries the current URL. Okay. Is there like a set? I need, okay, so this is, okay, hook to access the any location type. So this might be what we're looking at. This is just a lot of read-only stuff. I don't see any way to set our location. Like returns the path name, returns this. Try any history to see, is there something here? Go is loads a specific page in history with a delta relative to current page. That's probably not what we want. Replace the state. Yeah, it requires it to be a routable. So it requires it to know that it's where I want it to go. Maybe can't do it with yew.rs. That would be something interesting to do. But yeah, I don't think that exists. Okay, that's too bad. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing we did before. We're gonna do blue utils window location. We're gonna set ref. This is going to be a reference to the location, and then unwrap it. Sorry, logout URL. We don't need view, which means I don't need view, and this is fine. Okay, now if we come, oh, one more thing. I want to remove this if statement right now. Basically, I don't need, we're just gonna have all the buttons. We're gonna have login and logout, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. So here you are with login and logout. So I'm gonna hit, if I hit login, it just brings us back here and we're auto logged in. So if I hit logout, ooh, it takes us back here. It took us back to authenticate, but I really wanted to go to authentication. So probably should fix that. Authentication, and replace you. Oh, okay. So there's a router navigation. We'll check it. We'll take a look at that in a second. So now back to here, I'm gonna go to authentication. I can now do a login. Log myself in. It brings us back here, and that stays there. And now I can log out again. Okay, so we have login and logout working. And okay, let's take a look at yew.rs. So now you're looking in next concepts, router, so there's the link tag. If you want to replace the current location instead of pushing new location onto the stack, use navigator replace instead of navigator push. So navigator replace. So wait, so this is like off of a navigator? Do we need, wait a second, what do we do? Oh, it's a use navigator. Okay. That might be what we're missing. Okay, so back to here. Well, what's interesting is that this is next, but okay, how about this? Oh, yeah. That must be next to new. Let's see, can I go to your repository? Let's find a use navigator. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so it's a next feature for you router. It's a next feature for you router. And it's not yet available in the latest version push to create. So it's something that's going to be really nice to use once we get there. So what we can put a note here is this can be replaced with a use navigator after you router. What are you gonna be? Right now. .16, so probably something like 0.17. 0.17 or later is released. Okay, good to know with that. All right, so this seems to be working. Let's continue on and figure out what's happening behind the scenes here. Back to here. So this did the login with redirect. This did the logout. And then everything should be working at this point, which means now we need to start looking into here to see like, okay, what's it doing when it first loads, right? Because when the application loads, it's checking to, sorry, I hit the microphone with my fingernail. It's checking to see if we're logged in right now. It's like, where is that exactly in here? Or is that just when we initialize the client here? So I see this get user, but that's with the login with pop-up. So that's happening locally here. Now, oh, handle redirect callback. Handles the callback when logging in using a redirect. So this must be called at some point. One of 3 matches. Okay, created. So when this entire thing is created, it checks to see, do we include a code or a state? Which, if we take a look at our callback URL, not this one, but after we log in, we have an access token, but at the very back here, we have a state equals. So it's looking to see if this includes a state equals, okay? And if it does, oh, it looks like it includes a code and a state. Wait a second, do I also have a code? So I have an access token. I have a scope, expires in token type. I don't see a state. Wait, there's a way to get this, right? I can go to like window dot location dot search. There's a way to get like the queries off of this, right? And I forget. Let's see, search, reload, protocol. Window dot, you have the code right in front of you. That's what they're doing. Wait. Do I? Do I have the code? They're checking the URL for the code, though, aren't they? Because they're checking to see, okay, if window location search includes. Okay, so window location search. Liar. How is that nothing there? Oh, weird. Okay. So is this going to be like a use effect thing? Where every time we refresh. No, it's just going to be on the first load. On the first load, we're going to just run some arbitrary code. Where I guess we're going to get something. So like let location search is equal to, let's try this, blue utils window location search wasn't there oh, I think it was search. Yeah, search. Okay, that gives me a string, and then I want to do a what is it called? Log. So like log string. That's what I called it. Log string, and it's gonna be this location search. Oh, which you are a reference. Okay, so if I log out, empty string, and if I log back in again, I've seen my uber secure password that I'm using for this. Or at least part of it. Oh, it's still an empty string. So that's not actually grabbing my stuff, which I need. So I'm a little bit confused. Like how is that working? Unless, of course, this is different. That's false. Thank you, Mohid, and as a reward for that message, you are banned. It took a while to find it, but you finally solved the memory leak in your program. You just finished writing your first SDL project, Game of Life in C. Try state 1. We know we have that one. Yeah, okay, let's try state. can't type that. Oh, select. So that's also false. But if I come here to the very end with the right mouse, come on. Here it is, state equals. State equals that, okay. So, I feel like I'm just doing this wrong. That like it's not window location search. MDN window location like the query. Give me the query. Just window look. There's also URL search params. I mean, that doesn't seem that hard. There's a window.location.like path name. Path name, okay, so that's / authentication, that worked. Host name is localhost, okay. Okay, we have the full href. Now href we can check to see if it has it. Oh, that's it. Okay. So I could do an href dot includes state equals, and then that would be true. And if I do a code equals, that is false. So I could just grab the href and check to see if it includes that. So on load, this would be, so location dot, what do we have here? As string, okay, so we have the href. So I think, oh, maybe this is where I do a, okay, let location equals a use location. Location dot, okay, here is, I have query, turn it into a actual type that's going to hold stuff. I don't have time to do that right now, so maybe a search returns the queries of the current URL in an array of string. And then toString. And we will reference that. I think Was this it? No, that's the thing that I was creating and setting. So now back to here. Oh, interesting. Fascinating. It's still an empty string even when I have rest do that. So they're still just using this same URL thing. I wonder, is this a problem with where is it? Is this a problem with like Firefox and it not giving it to me as opposed to like actually a problem with something else? That's really fascinating though. But unfortunately, I've run out of time. I have a meeting in 5 minutes that I have to attend. So I'm gonna have to do an emergency stream shutdown. Thank you everybody for hanging out with me today. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on this. Because today is Wednesday. Usually on like Monday through Wednesday, I have a little bit of time after work to sort of work on this. I may continue